Hare Krishna.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, we'll get started now. Thank you for joining it. Sorry for not being able to make it yesterday. And a lot of important topics are going to be covered. So, and I wanted to continue to make progress. So I thought we'll just have a special class today, but we'll maintain the Saturday schedule. Let us start with Mangalacharan prayers. You all already know the prayers, so we will just recite them. I will not spend time in displaying them. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Okay, I will share the slides and to arrange it a little bit. Okay. Nectar of Devotion, which is Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ, English summary study by His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and the original Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ by Śrī Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. I will sing these. We have one devotee here in the room, actually two. So we'll just sing together here in the room these verses. If we'll see whenever possible we can do this sort of a hybrid format. So if you're living close by, please feel free to join in person. Again, it's a trial basis, so we'll see. Okay. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirmatsaro Pujito Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhavibhuvo Bharavahantarako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Sanstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padarvinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. Now, memorization verses. If you want to unmute and repeat after me, that is fine. Please do so. Anyabhilashita shunyam
Anyabhilashita
Anyabhilashita-shunyam
jnana karmadyanavritam
Jnana-karmadhyānavritam
anukulyena krishnanu
Anukulena
Krishnanu
Sheelanam bhaktiruttama
Sheelanam
Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu
Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ
sarvopādhi vinirmuktam
Sarvabhauma-bhattacharya
paratvena nirmalam
Tatparatena nirmalam
rishikena rishikesha
Rishikena
Rishikesha
Rishikesha
sevanam bhaktiruchyate
Sevanam
Sevanam
Bhakti-ruchyate
Bhakti-ruchyate
atah Shri Krishna namadi
Atah Shri Krishna Namadi
Namati
na bhaved grahyamindriyai
Na
Na
bhavet
Bhave
grahya
Grahya-indriyai
indriyai
sevonmukhe jivhado
Sevonmukhe
Sevonmukhe
jivado
Jivado
स्वयमेव सुरत्यदः
Swayam
Swayameva
Eva Supratyadaha
अनासक्तस्य विषयान्
Anasaktasya vichaya
अर्हम् उपयुञ्जतः
Yathaharam
Yathaharam
Upayunjataha
निर्बन्धः कृष्णसम्बन्धे
Nirbandha
Nirbandha
Krishna
Krishna
Sambandhe
Sambandhe
युक्तं वैराग्यमुच्यते
Yuktam
Yuktam
Vairagyam
Vairagyam
Uchyate.
Uchyate.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. So now we will jump to today's content. So, and that is okay. All right. So we stopped last time at Shravanam. Okay, so I'm not going to spend time summarizing that, but we covered the limbs of bhakti that were related to the tongue. Various other senses, the tongue, the eyes, the ears. Skin and tongue has two functions, taste as well as speech. So we covered kirtanam as well. Now we are coming to the limbs of bhakti that are related or that are performed in the mind or at the mind level. Okay. So mind or consciousness or our attitude. So keep that in mind, attitude. So it's all a matter of attitude, like, right, they say. So, and these are extremely, extremely important limbs of bhakti, and you should consider. So I said last time and couple of other times, these couple of classes, today's class and next couple of classes will be extremely, now we are getting into the last stretch, last 20. Remember, there were first 20, then last 44. among the last 44, now we are in the last 20, 44 to 64. The last 5 are very important, but many of these that we will be discussing are extremely, extremely important limbs of bhakti, and you should understand them. And this one, tat kṛpekṣaṇam, I have broken it down into krpa, iksanam, or kṛpekṣaṇam, that's how it would join, is an extremely important limb of bhakti. You should consider it as one of the 20, baseline, foundational limbs of bhakti. And there are other limbs of bhakti which are related to this, okay, in those 20. So, this is an extremely, extremely important limb of bhakti that you should pay very, very careful attention to. And the subtleties you must understand. There are some subtleties here, some subtle differences, some subtle aspects. Well, even if you understand at a general aspect, it's okay. But it's nice to understand things at a subtle aspect with finer details as well. So today's class, my point is, please pay very careful attention. It will be very beneficial for you. So 44th limb of bhakti, tat krpa iksanam, tat kṛpekṣaṇam. Kripa means mercy, and iksanam means to expect or to wait for it. Okay, so it will come like Indian railway train. Sometimes it is late, but you know it will come. Well, sometimes they cancel it also, especially in America, flights they cancel. Sorry, flight is cancelled, go back home. This one is not like that, because this is Bhagwan. It's not some material arrangement like trains or flights. It will come. It's just a matter of when. So you are happily waiting. Okay. So there is most of these limbs of bhakti, Sri Rupa Goswami will give his definition and then will give some praman or proofs to highlight various points through Shastra. In this particular case, he has not done that. He directly just states a verse because that verse is so apt and it is so hard-hitting, it is so beautiful that it conveys the whole point. And this picture that you are seeing on the screen also conveys everything. So anybody can guess what verse it is. Okay, so we will move forward. So this verse is Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 14th chapter, 8th verse. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, I have heard that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that if whole Bhagavatam were to be lost and you had to rescue one verse from it, let's say it is drowning, all the verses are being lost and you had to save one verse from drowning, from being lost, which one would it be? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, I have heard, I would be happy if somebody can do some research and find out an actual quote or which lecture, which day. But I have heard he said it would be, for him, it would be this verse. It is that important. So you must all memorize it, and we will recite it today a couple of times. So all of you must memorize this verse and apply it in your life. Every single day, I guarantee, unless you are a already perfected saint, there will be at least 5 times every day where you can apply this verse, minimum in your day. If you keep it in your consciousness, you will apply it. Okay, let me apply it. Good. So like that. And this is the best way to receive Lord's mercy. I need that writing pad. Yes, that one. Yeah, thank you. Book also. Okay. So this is the best way to receive the Lord's mercy. So let us see the verse. and we will recite it, and then we will read the translation. I will explain every word, and we will go through it. So, need your help in the meter. So, this meter is known as Upajati, and it is a 11 syllable meter, and it goes in the similar way as Bhagavad Gita chapter 8 verse numbers 9, 10, prayana kale cha manasa sa chalena, so like that. So tatte nukampam susamikṣamāno bhunjane vatmakritam vipakam हृद्वागवपुर्भिर्विदधन् नमस्ते जीवेतयो मुक्तिपदे सदाय भाग. So, you must have, or you might have, I'm sure many of you might have heard this verse before. So, what it means, so these are the prayers of Brahmaji after he tried to just play a trick on Lord Krishna, stole his calves and cowherd boys, and even though he, sort of being the progenitor of all living beings, he himself got confused when he stole them. How did they come back? And that is when he realized who Lord Krishna is. So he tried to test or play a trick on Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna played a much, much bigger trick back on him. And then these beautiful prayers of Lord Brahma, he recited. And each prayer, each verse is a gem in itself. So this is just his own prayer, his own, you can say even stava or vigyapti. I don't know specifically which one, but you remember all those limbs of bhakti. So these are his personal compositions for the Lord. So what it means here is that tat te nukampam, tat te anukampam, nukampam, the word is missing, anukampam su samikṣamāno. So the point is that this is telling the mindset or the attitude of a devotee, of a very, very pure devotee, is that su samikṣamāno means he is waiting patiently. Su samikṣamāno. Samikṣamāno means he is just waiting or hoping to that it will come. Not hoping like it may or may not come. He knows it will come, but he's waiting. And su means in a very proper, very nice, very peaceful way. Tat te anukampam. Waiting for what? Te anukampam. The Lord's mercy. Anukampa means mercy. And in the meantime, while he is waiting, what he is doing, he is, okay, before that, what is his mindset? Why is he so peacefully waiting for the Lord's mercy? It should have come so much long ago, but it has not come. So he is undergoing suffering in the meantime. That is the point. Even if he is undergoing suffering. Bhunjan evatma kritam vipakam. That bhunjan, which means he is enduring or he is suffering. Bhunjan means to eat. So bhunjate te agham papa. So, bhunjan means to eat or suffer or to, just you're enduring. Evatma kritam. Atma kritam means, eva means certainly or only my own doings. Atma kritam. I have only done bad things in the past. And vipakam means the results, the sinful reactions. So whatever suffering is I am going through, it is my own past doing. And I am eating the, like they say, jo jaisa boya vaisa khaya. So as you sow, so shall you reap. So he's very peaceful with that situation. Like a small child, also, If he runs and falls down, he will not cry. But if you even touch him and then he falls, then he will make such a big ruckus, because then he holds you responsible. But when one thinks, I am responsible, no problems at all. So like that, one never blames someone. Our immediate tendency is to find someone else to blame for our suffering. A devotee never does that. Never, ever, never, never, never. And what he does in the meantime also, hrid vag vapu. Hrid means mind or heart, but mind, vak is words, vapu means body. So BMW. Body, mind, and words. Vidadhan namaste. So, with his body, mind, and words, he is doing namo to the Supreme Lord. He's offering his namaskar. So, he is offering his prayers to the Lord. And what he is doing, jivetayo. He's just existing, jivet. He's living like this. Such a person, mukti pade, which means he becomes dāsyaṁ. Dāsyaṁ means he becomes the inheritance owner. Like he becomes like a beneficiary. Like you say in your property, he's in the will. The Lord puts this devotee in his will. Or like the father puts the son in the will. So he becomes the rightful inheritor of the Lord's mukti pade, of the Lord's lotus feet. Understood? So, tatte anukampam su samikṣamāno. That one is peacefully waiting for the Lord's mercy, anukampa, and whatever suffering he is going through, he is happily tolerating or happily suffering, bhunjan, knowing that evatma kritam, that it is only vipakam, the fruitive results, the sinful reactions of my own past deeds, eva atma kritam, and at the same time with his body, mind, words, hrid vapu vak, hid vag vapu, bhir vidadhan namaste, he is doing his namaste, namaskar to the Lord, and he is passing his life. He's not protesting, he is not doing anything like that. And that person becomes the inheritor of the Lord's lotus feet. At the Lord's lotus feet is mukti. So on Zoom, let us see. Shalu Mataji, can you read the translation? Oh, here it is.
Okay. One who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisance with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim.
Thank you. So you can understand the translation now. Okay. So basically, this is showing the attitude of the devotee, that he is not complaining. Devotees also undergo suffering. We'll see how or why they undergo suffering, but devotees also undergo suffering. But they consider that as a result of their own actions. They don't blame Bhagwan. I have served you so much. Why is this happening to me? Not only that, not only they don't have that question, they know the answer already. They don't blame God. They don't blame others. It's not that they are having the question but no answer. They know or they have the question but don't know the answer. Like they are just left with a question and searching for answers. Even that is not the case. They know the answer already. I am the cause. And so they are very peaceful with it and are serving the Lord, are doing their namaskar to the Lord in the meantime and waiting for the Lord's mercy and living. And then they get the Lord, they become the owners, they become the inheritors. So very powerful verse. So let's recite it once more. And please memorize it. Please memorize it. It will save you in your life. And many times in your day, there will be things where, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Use this verse and you will become a very, very nice, gentle, sweet devotee. Not for others, for Bhagwan's, in his view, you will become a very sweet devotee. Tatte nukampam susamikṣamano bhunjane vatmakritam vipakam hridvagvaprbhirvidadhan namaste jivet yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. All right. So some more points to be discussed. So now, since you understand the essence of this verse is not about tolerance. Tolerance has a specific meaning. What tolerance means is that you feel the suffering, but you are not retaliating. I'm tolerating. It's like, my mom was in the hospital. So when they would come and poke her, oh, tolerate the injection, which means the pain is there and you would do like that. But you are just, the pain is there, but you're not retaliating. You're not like, shouting or, showing the anger. You're tolerating. That is tolerance. This is even deeper than that. It is simply no complaints whatsoever. And you know that the devotee knows it is his past deeds. That is true. Also, he knows that it is the grace of the Lord that I am receiving this suffering. Now, that is not technically part of the verse, but this is part of many, many commentaries by the acharyas. There are so many commentaries on this verse because it is first of all from Bhagavatam. So many acharyas have commented, and this is from 10th canto Bhagavatam. Even more number of acharyas have commented on it. So I have gone through as many commentaries as I had in my possession, and I picked up some few points. This verse has just massive number of commentaries. So everything is a grace of the Lord. And the devotee also thinks that I am getting only a small token of suffering than what I should have got. I should have got more. But it is the mercy of the Lord that I am getting only less. And whatever I am getting is for my benefit, for my purification, and also for my remembrance. That because of this, I will be able to remember the Lord more strongly. Okay, so each bullet I have condensed many points or many things, many paragraphs into small bullets, but it will be very nice if you can also read all the commentaries and internalize all the details. We don't have time to go through, otherwise this whole verse can be 1-2 hour class. Okay, so we have to cover so many things and already half an hour is gone. Then, mukti pade sadaya bhak. So, mukti is not impersonal liberation. Remember, mukti and bhukti were compared to what in the earlier part of Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu? Anybody remembers?
Witches.
What is the Sanskrit word used?
Pisacha.
Pishachi, yes. So this mukti is different because now Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was an associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, first he was an impersonalist. So when he became a pure devotee by association with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took objection to this verse. He says, why mukti pade? He in fact changed it. Lord Chaitanya asked him to recite Bhagavatam. And when he started reciting Bhagavatam, he himself made a change, like from his own side. So he said, Bhakti pade sadaya bhak. Lord Chaitanya said, wait a minute, where bhakti has come here? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remembers the whole, or he knows the whole Bhagavatam, says it was mukti. He said, no, I felt that mukti is not the right word. It should be bhakti, because one becomes the inheritor of Lord's bhakti. What is this mukti? So, when people convert, so to say, or become new devotees, they are more fanatical. Then later on, they become more broad-minded. But initially, whenever you you become more fanatical about something new that you take on. So he became very possessive about his personalist mindset, his bhakti. So he changed Bhagavatam itself during recitation. Lord Chaitanya said, no, we cannot change Bhagavatam. And then he explained mukti pade. Pada here is not the position of mukti. Mukti pade means he gets the position of mukti. No. Mukti pade means this is the mukti that is present at the pada, means the feet of the Lord. So one is still attaining the feet of the Lord, and that is liberation as well. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was pacified. So mukti, this mukti is not impersonal liberation. It is mukti that is located at the Lord's feet. Then another point, another sweet point to understand from this verse is that this, if you see, this whole verse is about attitude. He is enduring suffering. Well, that's the worst thing for a devotee. I mean, there can be other worse things, but as a devotee, you're supposed to be happy. Susukham kartum avyayam, we say. This bhakti and Krishna bhakti is all susukham. It's a joyous process. Well, what happens when suffering arrives? Suffering will arrive sometime or the other. So how should the devotee take it? And in the beginning stages, one has to practice. One will not be able to understand it in this way right from the beginning. So one has to consciously put it into practice. So it is all about the mind, how you, your attitude, that yes, so apply this verse and create an attitude where you are able to tolerate the suffering. Again, tolerate may not be the right word. In the beginning, it is tolerate, and then it just goes away, and then one is happily enduring the suffering where it doesn't even hurt. And like this, jivetayo, this jiveta word is very important. You just have to exist. He just needs to survive, jiveta, live like this. Like for a son to inherit his father's property, what does he need to do? He just needs to exist. He does not need to do anything else. Only thing is that he should not leave or abandon the father. As long as he has not abandoned the father, the property will come to him. So similarly, he just has to exist. He doesn't have to do anything. No hard work, no nothing. Just a change of attitude, and that's it. So this whole limb of bhakti is a shift of attitude. That's it. And exist as it is. Now, it doesn't mean you start twiddling your thumbs. What it means is you go and do your whatever duties you are doing. But your entire life you live with this attitude and do whatever duty you are doing. Okay? So that is a limb of bhakti. Now, few more points. Why do devotees undergo favorable or unfavorable experiences? Very short points on this. Favorable is an outcome of bhakti. Okay, remember, bhakti is shubhada. Remember that? It bestows auspiciousness. But in our bhakti, sometimes we commit bhakti aparadha. And we have to be very careful about our bhakti aparadhas. Bhakti aparadhas means nam aparadha, seva aparadha, dham aparadha, vaishnava aparadha. And any unfavorable reactions that come to a bhakta are due to that. So one must search in his life what aparadha he has done. And for a devotee, it is not prarabdha karma. Any suffering, we say prarabdha karma, the past karma. Devotee may think like that, but the reality is that it is due to bhakti aparadha. Okay, and the Lord gives a token, much, much smaller than what prarabdha. Prarabdha is like with compound interest. You may get it little later, but the interest will be so much compounded, it will be much, much harder. Another reason Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives why a devotee suffers. Very sweet reason, and it's correct. It's not arthavad. The reason that Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives is that to keep normal atheist people and others away from bhakti. If a bhakta becomes very happy and there is no suffering, people will take to bhakti for materialistic pleasures. Oh, let's do bhakti, then suffering will go away. So the Lord covers the devotees with some suffering. Okay, so that people who are maybe attracted to materialistic benefits stay away from bhakti. With that mindset, they will say, see, you did so much devotion. Kya mila? What did you get? You are suffering. Good for you. I am happy without bhakti. I am happy, I eat, drink, be merry. Sometimes I also suffer, but hey, you are also suffering and you are not even enjoying the material world. At least I am enjoying the material world. The bars and the nightclubs and the lavish whatever, XYZ. So the non-devotees stay away. So the Lord covers the devotees sometimes with some suffering, but he makes sure that the devotees are easily able to tolerate the suffering. I should have made this picture come later. But there is a very, very beautiful another point. Again, these are just expansions of this same verse. Tat kṛpekṣaṇam. The point is that when the devotee is undergoing some suffering, first of all, he knows that it is my past deeds, but I am getting only a token suffering, a token punishment for this. But one can ask that why when I'm getting token? Why? One can keep asking why. The point is that a true devotee realizes that he does not know what is best for him. He knows, he has full faith that Bhagwan knows what is best for him. Remember, I have said this so many times. Our plan, Krishna's plan for us is better than our plan for us. That is another way of saying this same point. Krishna's plan for us is better than our plan for us. Just like in the commentary, Sri Jiva Goswami or Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives this thing. Just like a father, sometimes he will give milk. These days it can be, chocolate or ice cream, whatever. In olden days it was milk. And sometimes the same father to the same child gives neem juice, depending upon what is good for the child. But the child likes milk. Well, not these days, but anyway. And the child would hate neem juice. It's so bitter, but it's good for him. But imagine if the father tries to explain to the child, hey, you have this disease and this Ayurveda and this neem juice will do good and this and kapha, pitta and all those things. Will the child be able to understand all those details, why neem juice is good for him? So the child's framework of intelligence is itself insufficient to understand the big picture. Many devotees may think that, oh, if God wants me to give suffering, he should first give me a whole thesis. Explain me why I need this. Today's doctors do that, yes. But that is because it's at a material level. Sometimes the doctors also tell you in brief. They don't tell you all the details. But yeah, you are paying them money, they all have to tell you. Otherwise, you will go in for a different doctor. So they have to preserve your business. But our framework of intelligence is not sufficient to even understand what's going on. So the best strategy for the child is to have full faith in the father and just go with his plan. No but parantu lekin kintu. The devotee has complete faith, full faith that God will never do anything that is not in my best interest. Like Prahlad Maharaj. So many bad things were happening with him. Is there anybody in the whole universe who could have had more bad things happen to him? In the first case itself, he would have been dead. Prahlad Maharaj survived all those, and therefore the atrocities kept multiplying. And still, he was so peaceful and such a nice devotee. Our current situation is what? I know what is best for me, and God should just carry out my wish. That is God's role. He is our order carrier. I know what is best for me. I want this house, I want this job, I want this whatever, XYZ. And if God is not agreeing or not providing it, then I don't like him. A very beautiful example, very, and that is the picture that I have shown there, is that of Prthu Maharaj. And this has been quoted by our acharyas in the commentaries to this verse. What Prthu Maharaj was doing? He was doing a huge yajna. And he had to do that yajna 100 times. He had already finished 99 times. And our wonderful Indra got little upset with that. He got afraid that his position is being challenged. So, and Prthu Maharaj was not doing this to become Indra at all or to take over his position. He was doing it with full devotion to Bhagwan. But for some reason or the other, Indra got threatened and he came and started disrupting the yajna of Prthu Maharaj, the 100th one. And then Lord Vishnu came and he seemed to side with Indra. He told Prthu Maharaj, just let it go. Stop it. Don't finish. And imagine, you are doing this huge yajna over the whole world. It's not just a small havan. 99% is over. It's like you are downloading 1 GB file. 99% is over and then connection breaks. Very important or whatever. I'm just trying to, So, and then God sides with him. And he's like, I'm doing it for you only. And you are taking my opponent's side. He could have thought like that. What did he do? Without even thinking, without even asking one question, he said, okay, I will stop. You know what is best for me. Whatever you are telling is obviously for my good. He just completely dropped it, knowing that that is best for him, having full faith in Bhagwan. So one could have argued, hey, I'm doing this for you. And it's Indra who is being this low-class fellow. You should be telling him to stop instead of telling me to stop. One could have easily said that. He did not. He just completely said, yes, absolutely. So that is the mindset of a devotee, where he completely has 100% faith that the Lord's plan for me is better than my plan for me. So that is the sum and substance of this verse. Okay, any questions? Okay, so let us move forward. Next, so 5:50. So we have 50 minutes or 45 minutes done. So let us keep going. Today might be a little longer class, hopefully relishable. Next one is smriti, another huge limb of bhakti. Smriti, and then the next one is dhyānam. So smriti and dhyan are kind of similar, but I will explain what are the differences and how to understand. I gave a Sunday feast class a few weeks back on similar topic, so it might be useful for you to go through that also, but I will summarize most of the points from there. So smriti means what? Remembrance or remembering the Lord. So this is covered in 3 verses, 175, 176, 177. 175 contains the definition of smriti, and 176 and 177 are pramana from the Puranas. So, yatha katham chin manasa sambandha smritir uchyate. So what is the meaning? So it's color coded. You can match. Yatha katham, jaise taise, somehow or the other. Yatha katham, connecting the mind. Sambandha means to connect. Chit manasa, the mind. to Lord Krishna that is implied here. It's not there in that verse. Smritir uchyate is called smriti. Okay, so somehow or the other, connecting the mind to Krishna is called smriti. This is very, very, very important. Does this remind anybody of any particular verse we have studied?
It's yena kena prakarena Krishna something.
So that is in Chaitanya Charitamrita in Bengali. The Sanskrit version is Tasmat kena api upayena manah Krishna niveshayet. Very nice. So that one is yena kena prakarena manah Krishna niveshayet, I think. The Sanskrit is from, I think it's from Vishnu Puran. Tasmat kenapi upayena. Similar, very same. Tasmat, therefore. So it must have been some prior context, and then this is the final verse. Tasmat kena api upayena, however possible. Manah Krishna niveshayet. Invest your mind in Krishna. So sambandha chin manasa sambandha smriti ruchyate. Okay, so that one was the sort of the fundamental of Vaidhi Bhakti, that you must invest your mind in Krishna. So this smriti is such an important limb of bhakti. And then there are two verses, pramanas. In interest of time, I'm not quoting the exact verses. It would be very nice to go through these verses. Sri Rupa Goswami this is his like choicest set of verses that he has put into Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. Unfortunately, we are skipping over all of them in interest of time. So in Vishnu Purana, I surrender to that Lord Hari, by remembering whom everything becomes auspicious. So there is a verse in Vishnu Purana, but the focus is not about how to make everything auspicious. That's not the point. Remember, in all these verses, the phala is not the point. What you do or you must do is the main point. That's the emphasis. The emphasis is remembering Krishna, not how to make my life auspicious. A bhakta or a devotee is not interested much in that. Because at that point, Lord just becomes a tool, a means to auspiciousness. Tomorrow, if the verse says that, by remembering the demons, my life becomes auspicious, okay, I will switch to demons. Because the goal is to make my life auspicious. That is not the point. The emphasis of all these verses is the means, the sadhan, not the sadhya. So last time we had covered some of the points about this. So by remembering Lord Vishnu. Similarly, Padma Puran says remembering his name while living or dying or at the moment of death destroys heaps of sins. Again, the goal is not to aim for destroying heaps of sins. The goal is to remember his name. And then both of them quote these wonderful verses. 8.5, what is that? Antakale cha mameva smarana muktva kalevaram. Yah prayati sabadbhavam ya atra na asti atra samshayaha. One word I'm missing. Yati na asti atra samshayaha. And then 8.10, prayana kale manasa chalena, and so on. So both those verses are quoted that at the time of death or during living. In Bhagavad Gita, very many people quote Antakale cha mameva smarana muktva kalevaram. Very next verse, or just after another verse, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, then he says tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. Therefore, while doing yuddha or while living your life, our yuddha of our fight of our life, struggle of life, therefore you must remember Krishna. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. While living, remember me, and while dying, remember me. Or if while living you remember me, while dying you will remember me. So the point is remembering Krishna's name while living or dying. So both verses are glorifying the significance of remembering Krishna. So this is smriti. Okay. 3 verses, 75, 76, 77. Next is dhyāna, which is connected to smriti. But dhyāna is simply a deeper level of smriti in a nutshell. And I will explain some of the differences. So a lot of verses are there, 5, 78, 100, but 78 to 82. So 178 is the definition of dhyāna. So dhyāna has a very specific definition. What was smriti? There was a what was a special characteristic of the remembering? Somehow or the other. I would pick that as the sort of the defining part. Yes, smriti means remembering. So yes, that's most important. But what was the emphasis was somehow or the other. So it wasn't very clear, but somehow or the other. That is like a general instruction, somehow or the other. Now things are becoming more specific. So what is the specificity here? Dhyānam is what? Rupa, guna, krīda, seva, adi, suṣṭhu chintanam. This is dhyāna. What it means, I have again color coded. Dhyānam or dhyan means chintanam, chintan karna. To meditate on or to contemplate. Suṣṭhu. Suṣṭhu means with precision, in a very precise way. That's the most, I looked over all the meanings of the word suṣṭhu. A very precise or a nice absorption. Suṣṭhu. So a very nice absorption. So to meditate with absorption or to contemplate with absorption, like you are lost in it. जैसे कहते हैं ना ख्यालों में खो गए. So you are lost thinking and you lost track of time or खो गए. So with that level of absorption, what 4 items are mentioned and adi is mentioned. It's not limited to these 4 adi. What? Rupa, guna, krīda, seva. Rupa, form, guna, qualities, krīda, you can say sports, but it's the Lord's pastimes, and seva, Lord's seva. So dhyan is, and not on all of these 4 simultaneously, any one at a time. And typically for a particular devotee, it would be a one thing all the time only for his whole life. They become expert in one area. Like there is nobody like you cannot say these days, he's an expert doctor. Nobody can be an expert doctor of everything. You are either a doctor of the eyes or the ENT or whatever, you are a specific doctor. So specific. So the focus here is specificity. And then there are 3 verses, Rupa, Guna, and Krīda, because and there is Seva also. Sorry. So why didn't I mention it? Oh, that is next, 82. So these 3 are verses are glorifying the dhyana on these 3 aspects of the Lord. Rupa dhyana from Narsingha Purana, meditating on Lord's 2 feet. Okay. The specific item there is the Lord's 2 feet. And in the verse that is there and in the purport, or I think the commentary given there in the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu, it is mentioned that those who meditate on the Lord's 2 feet, now feet are the rupa, the form of the Lord. And most devotees, when they talk about form, it's not about the face, it's not about their chest, or it's typically the feet. The meditating on the 2 feet, you become free from the two dualities of life. It's just a nice way of, correlating. Meditating on the 2 feet makes you free from the the dualities. You know, win, lose, friend, enemy, hot and cold. All these are dualities of life. Rich, poor. So one becomes free of those dualities. Then in the Vishnu Dharma is another Shastra. There is Guna Dhyana, meditating on the Lord's qualities, and another Purana. Another Purana is in the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu itself says another Purana. Doesn't give a name. So Rupa Goswami has collected these verses from some places, meditating on the Lord's pastimes. Okay. So please, try to understand Rupa Dhyana, for example, feet. Now, even of your beloved, you may look at the face of your husband or your wife or your child. Who meditates on the feet? If I show you pictures of the feet of many, many women, Prabhuji, would you be able to make out the feet of your wife if there are no specific jewelry on it? Huh? I don't think so. I will. So how one can imagine that it is so boring. But that is not the case with Bhagwan. And how the point I'm trying to bring out is that the devotees who have spent years and years, for example, in dressing a deity in a temple, and typically associated with one temple for 10 years, 20 years, they become so attached. I have talked to some devotees who are very attached to a specific deity of a specific temple. And they can meditate on just the feet of the Lord for hours. It's not boring for them. But what has enabled them to do that? They have served those feet for years and years and years. So this Rupa Dhyana will not just come by itself. Guna Dhyana, for example, you must meditate on a specific guna of the Lord. Not that when you're trying to do dhyan, then you imagine, oh, what should be the guna? Then you will go into your self-manufacturing mode, which is not good. You need to read so many, let's take a guna, compassion, Lord's compassion. If you read many, many pastimes that how compassionate the Lord is, then when you meditate on the compassion of the Lord, you need to have that whole background, that whole baggage, not in a bad way, that good kind of baggage, to be able to do this meditation. So please remember this point as we will go. And krida, pastimes. Also not, oh yes, there was Govardhan pastime. Yeah, he lifted the hill. Nice. Then after that, oh, this pastime. That no, it's not a table of contents of pastimes. It is about the finest of the fine details within a pastime. That pastime, Govardhan Leela, took 7 days. But for a devotee who is meditating on that pastime, he can meditate on that pastime for his whole life with the finest and minutest of details. Well, for that, you should have read those pastimes from various sources, heard from various sources, that you have so much of understanding and so much of relishment of various aspects of those pastimes. Then this krida dhyan, guna dhyan, rup dhyan will occur. Otherwise, it will be like, okay, you think you will, go and sit in the exam and you will be able to just self-manufacture all the equations. Not going to happen. You need to have studied the textbook. You need to have done a lot of preparation so that you can do this kind of dhyana. And then there is seva dhyan, and very nice example is given. And you should read this purport. In the purport, Śrī Jiva Goswami gives this story. And I have not captured this entire aspect fully, but the point is, so let me first tell this story of a Brahman. I will tell it in brief, but you must read the commentary and I will tell you why you should read the commentary. There was this very poor Brahman, very, 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 very poor. but he had extreme amount of attachment to Bhagwan. But he could not, he would see other devotees doing so much seva for Bhagwan in nice way, making laddus and puris and dressing them with jewelry and all that. He didn't even have deities. He didn't even have money to do that much. So one day he was just sitting in the temple and he heard a class by someone saying that you can do what is known as manasi seva. Seva in the mind. And he understood the concept very well. And he used to see other people doing seva. He said, this is very nice. You don't need any money for this. So he started doing manasi seva. And in his mind, he went and got a deity. And in his mind, he would do detailed seva. Like detailed, everything detailed in his mind he would run. I would get bored. Like if he's doing abhishek, I would say, okay, now abhishek done. Okay, now drying up the deity, now clothing. Arey Baba, that whole thing takes time in our temple. When we do abhishek and all that, it takes 1 hour. So 1 hour meditation he would do just on abhishek, and then, just the same time scale. But everything is running in his mind. That is the level of dhyāna. With minutest detail, today I will use the red color dress. Today I will do the abhishek with sugarcane juice. Next day with orange juice. Next day with apple juice. Then all those preparation of the juices, doing that whole thing, because he was so poor and it's not like he had nothing else to do. But imagine even if you have nothing else to do, if left to me, I will think about, oh, where, if I had money, what would I do? I will spend hours thinking about that. It needs a certain level of attachment to Bhagwan to just focus the mind on that, on Bhagwan's seva. So his mind was fully focused and he would in detail do that. And the purpose of reading the purport is there, small details are mentioned. He put this juice or this water in a silver cup, and then it's only one paragraph. So again, even full justice is not done there, but you get a glimpse of the specificity that was going on in his mind, as if a whole movie was running in the mind. That is what I want to emphasize. The rest is a story. Whether he put it in a gold plate or a silver plate is not important. So he was doing the seva like this very nicely, and he was living very happily. One day in Vaikuntha, Lord used to see what he's doing all the time. One time he just laughed. So Mother Lakshmi became curious. Women are always curious. Kya hua? What happened? What happened? He said, no, nothing. Oh, no, you have to tell what happened. So what had happened actually was, so he sent his 2 servants. Lord Vishnu sent his servants that go pick up that Brahman and bring him here. So what had happened was that in his mind, he was making sweet rice, kheer for Bhagwan. And try to see the specificity here. Before offering, he wanted to test whether the kheer is too hot or not. Because you don't want to offer too hot or too cold. It has to be right temperature if you want to offer it to your best friend or your most loved, beloved Lord. So he dipped his finger in the kheer, and that day it happened to be too hot. And he felt a burning in his finger. And his meditation broke because of that. And when he saw, his finger was actually burnt. So the Manasi Seva in the mind manifested in his Laukik Sharir, in his material body, with a burnt finger. Such strong meditation he was doing. So when the Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha saw this, he started smiling, or he giggled. So then he sent his 2 servants to pick up this guy. So they airlifted him straight into Vaikuntha Lok. And Lord Vishnu brought him to him and showed his finger to Mother Lakshmi. See, he's such a nice devotee. He was doing such nice seva and then his finger got burnt. And from Bhagavad Gita we know, Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhāma paramam mama. One who goes never comes back. So that Brahman got permanent position in Vaikuntha right next to Lord Vishnu. It's a one-way ticket. So the point is that simply by doing Manasi Seva, he was able to get permanent position right next to the Lord in Vaikuntha. Very nice. So the point or the takeaway thing from the story is the detailed level of meditation on sevas. This is Seva Dhyanam. That was the topic, Seva Dhyanam. So constantly serving the Lord with items produced in the mind. Is that clear? So, this is in Brahma Vaivarta Purana, this story. And by Manasik Seva, only by Manasik Seva, nothing else, the Brahman attained a permanent position by the side of the Lord in Vaikuntha. Very nice. But there's a note of caution here. Do not perform Manasik Seva to save money. One must serve the Lord to the best of one's ability. This was applicable only because he was extremely poor. Now, it does not mean that Manasik Seva should not be done by rich people or by even people who are, even you say middle class, not even upper class. Whatever your means, but as you are doing the physical Seva, parallelly do Manasi Seva. Okay? Even in physical seva, you may not be able to do as much in detail as you can do in Manasi. Because in Manasi seva, if you have read the Shastras, maybe much more detailed procedures are given. Like you have 5 items of Archana. You may do 5 items or 2 items, but in your mind you can do 16 items. So you can add to it. Or on some particular day, but this again should be done every day. It's not like only as a, backup. When I cannot do this, I will do Manasi. Manasik Seva, again, if one is becoming expert in it, it should be done every day. And again, the mood should not be saving money. One could graduate to Manasi Seva. So even if one is rich, he may not do physical. It's not mandatory to do with physical items. But the consciousness should not be that, oh, I'm artificially doing to save money. That's the point. You could be a billionaire and you are still doing only Manasik Seva with no items. The Lord knows what your consciousness is or what your intention is. So intention should not be to, cheat the Lord. Then it's okay. Then you can still do Manasi Seva. So Manasik Seva is only primarily for those who are not materially capable or one who have completely in a pure way graduated to that level. To do Manasik Seva, you need to have done physical Seva a lot. Otherwise, it will be just artificial. It will be self-manufactured. Like I explained, to meditate on the feet of the Lord, you have to first serve the feet quite a bit. Then you can meditate. Okay. So what is the difference between Smarana and Dhyan? So this was a nice story. So let us now go into the difference between Smarana and Dhyana. So both are in a category called Smarana Dasha. It's the whole Dasha means a stage. And this stage has many sub-stages. We will go through it. So Nama Smarana is the first and the most important. So one should start with Nam Smarana. And that is why, so Japa is a form of Nam Smarana. And the order of progress through the various stages of Smarana. So here in this verse, Naam was not mentioned because it had been mentioned before. In one of the previous limbs, it had been mentioned, Nama Sankirtan, Nama Kirtana. So here, Sri Rupa Goswami started with Rupa, Guna, Leela, or Krida and Seva. There are also others, Parikara and Shiksha, Smaran. So, but among these four, the progression is Nama, Rupa, Guna, Seva, and then finally Leela. And for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, at the highest level is the Ashtakaliya Leela, the eightfold pastimes of Shri Shri, Radha and Krishna. So, this is the progress through of the Nam, Rupa, Guna, Seva and Leela Smaran. We will go through the stages, the sub-stages as well. But the point is, a pure heart is very, very, very essential for any form of high quality Smaran. We all see, I see it in my life, when you are chanting the name, mind goes all over the place. Then the reason for that is that the heart is impure. Impure doesn't mean necessarily bad, but attached to material things. Asat. Asat doesn't mean bad as such, bad as in illegal, but it is just attached to the temporary, attached to the matter. So therefore, when this heart is not pure, then Smaran is not as effective as Kirtana. So therefore, Kirtan is suggested for those people. Smaran means there is no audible sound. Kirtan means there is audible sound. So Kirtan should be done. Okay. And for those who do not have a pure heart could be at a gross level, attached to money, senses, sense objects, sensual things, or in the mind, attached to name, fame, pride of so many things, my titles, upadhis, all those things. So all these create impurities of heart. So this cleansing the heart should be undertaken to do high quality Smaran or to progress in the stages of Smaran. Therefore, Nam Aparadha Rahit. Rahit means free of, devoid of. So Nam Aparadha Rahit Nam Sankirtana is the best method for cleaning the heart. Antah Karana Shuddhi. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all our acharyas have suggested Nam Sankirtana for everyone. Everyone, that's the starting point. And everybody is eligible to do good quality Nama Sankirtan. No prerequisites are there. So, next we will go into the 5 stages of Smaran Dasha. So, I'll spend few minutes on this. Please listen carefully. These are the 5 stages of Smaran Dasha. Smarana, Dharana, Dhyana. So here in these 2 limbs, we talked limb 45 was Smaran and limb 46 was Dhyana. It's the 3rd stage. So that's why I said Dhyana is a higher, deeper level of Smaran. So it's a 3rd stage. And then there is, beyond that, there is dhruva-anusmrti and then Samadhi. So it's easy to remember or understand this from the last column. Something gets removed, something gets removed, something gets removed from each level. So Smaran, what was Smaran? Somehow or the other, have a sambandha, chinmanaso, sambandha smarana uchyate. Okay. So somehow or the other have a connection with of the mind. So whatever, some general remembrance of the Lord in a general manner. So not specific. Today it could be Nam, Roop. You could be all over the place. It's like a khichdi. It's like a hodgepodge. Okay. So that is the first level. And I am at that level, for example. When I do today, they're everywhere. Okay, we can say check, smaran done. So that is smaran. You are all over the place. The next one is dharana. Dharana means you cut off external distractions. Typically, it starts with closing the eyes. Okay, even if you sit in a quiet place, if you open your eyes, you will see things as long as it is daytime. Therefore, serious devotees used to go inside a cave or even in the night. Or the best thing to create a night is how? Close your eyes. Then it is night. So, and later on, it could be that you don't even care. Even if the external things are going on, you are immune to it completely. So one is able to remove. So the item of removal is external sources of distraction or attraction or whatever would disturb us. So that is dharana. Then dhyāna. But still you are thinking about, when you close your eyes, what you are meditating on, what you are doing smaran of is still general. But you are able to do it with less interruptions. The third level is the dhyan, where you now begin to focus the meditation or the remembrance on a specific aspect. And typically one should go from nama to rupa and try to focus on one specific roop of Bhagwan. And here at this level, a help from a guide or a guru is very important. So I'm giving again very general principles, but one should, best is when one is guided by a guru through this process, by a coach. Guru doesn't mean like a classroom, a professor standing and lecturing to 300 people class. That's not the guru. I'm talking more a guru like on the cricket field, coach. He's with you, standing with you. He's watching how you bat. And then he comes and tells you, in this stroke, whatever, your pressure on the front foot was more, or whatever, I'm remembering my old days of cricket. So he gives you it's like a more appropriate word is a coach rather than a teacher or a professor. So, but still, the idea is to replace the general remembrance with something more specific. But still there are distractions. Mental internal distractions are there. Only one has cut out external distractions. Even if you sit inside a cave, close your eyes, the mind can still think about 250 things. You don't need to, closing the eyes doesn't help in closing the mind. Dhruva-anusmrti means the mind is now closed. Now, no other thoughts. So what has been removed is all distractions, internal and external. And of course, the focus is fully there. Dhruva means fixed. Anusmrti. Anu means continuous. And smriti means so fixed on one aspect, continuously remembering. Dhruva, Anu, Smriti. On the Lord's, whatever one aspect you are attached to. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, and that too specific Guna, specific Rupa, specific Leela, like that. And it is to a point where even if you try to stop it, it doesn't stop. Try stopping it, like today, what many people call daydreaming. You try to stop daydreaming, oh, when I will get so much money, or when I will, marry this girl, or whatever it may be. Then, you try to stop that. Okay, if you may be, stopped for 2 minutes, again, you go back to that thinking. In the same way, even if you try to stop the devotee from thinking about the Lord's Rupa, Guna, Leela, whatever, immediately he goes back there. Like the example of the Ganges. If you try to stop the Ganga river from flowing, it will find another way to flow. There's no way to stop. And finally, samadhi. Even higher. One can imagine what is higher than dhruva-anusmrti. Samadhi means that now the remembrance is happening at a soul level. The soul is remembering, the body is completely detached. One loses the, now this is obviously, I'm just speaking hot, it's just hot air coming out of my mouth. Okay, so I can just tell you theoretically what is written, what I have read. There is zero experience in any of these levels for me. So with that caveat, samadhi is where one has absolutely no perception of the existence, physical existence. The fact that I exist is not even present as a distraction. So even if the physical body is harmed, you are not even there. Like it's like if you are meditating here and somebody else is suffering in the other house, you would not even know. So your own body becomes like that. Like this is the stage at which Prahlad Maharaj was. That is why when he was being tortured, he wouldn't feel anything. That was his level of samadhi. So what got removed was all awareness of physical existence was removed. So again, smarana is general. Then one removes external distractions or objects, whether by closing the eyes forcefully or when the mind gets trained, either way. Third, general remembrance is gone, removed, and it is replaced with specific remembrance. In the fourth level, it becomes continuous, so internal distractions are removed. And at the fifth level, complete existence or awareness of one's existence is removed. So we have covered this pretty much, so I'll go over this quickly. Essential prerequisite of dhyāna is that how will the devotee be able to meditate with absorption on the specifics? So I kind of constructed this slide, but we already talked about it. Think about it like, like a boy is thinking about a girl, or, husband is thinking about wife when, she has gone for a long time. So there is so much history. So that absorption is easier because there is so much to absorb yourself in. Otherwise, what will you absorb yourself in? It will be all just some sci-fi, fiction imagination. So, for a person, you remember past interactions, some memories, letters, what they like, what they don't like. You remember so many things about them. And that is how, you can just get lost in thinking about somebody you love. So the point is that how can we get similar details about the Lord to be able to meditate upon him with absorption in such a detailed manner? How? How is it possible? Tell me, those who are listening carefully, how will we be able to do this deep meditation on specifics with absorption? Okay, very nice.
It starts with
Through
hearing.
Shastra and association of devotees.
Well, association of devotees, what would you do in association of devotees? Then you will remember the devotees.
Hearing
Hearing
Lord's
Shastra.
kathas, Krishna kathas.
Hearing Lord's kathas, yes.
Mhm.
Otherwise, and yes, Shamlila Mataji, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I was just going to say reading commentaries of Bhagavatam.
Very nice. So basically reading detailed versions of Shastra and reading and hearing them from other devotees. And our acharyas have left so much Shastra. So Shastra Adhyayan in association of those who can share it in a relishable, in a rasic manner that leaves an imprint on our heart. If your wife, all she did was just give you grocery lists, and never wrote a love letter or this or nice things. I mean, those are the things you remember, not just the dry grocery lists. How many of you remember grocery lists from your wives? So that's not the relish. I'm just making it up. Sometimes grocery lists are also relishable, but yeah. So you get the point. So one has to, that's why Shravan Dasha, before Smaran Dasha comes Shravan Dasha. Shravan, to hear. So in detail, one has to hear, one has to develop that attachment. And then the Smaran can happen on that. So it is a very, very important prerequisite for this level of dhyan, specific dhyan. Otherwise, at best, it will be the general Smaran. It will be like a table of contents at that level of depth. From table of contents, you can get some idea about the book. But table of contents is 3 pages, even for a 300-page book. So what happens to the remaining 297 pages? You have lost that information. So therefore, you must read all the 300 pages. Then it will become dhyana. Otherwise, it will remain table of content level of smaran, very shallow. Are you following? And the other thing is, it could turn into just speculation. Anybody knows what this picture is? Let's see.
Is it the spaghetti monster, Prabhuji?
Yes. Can you share with everybody what spaghetti monster, what it means?
Prabhuji, so slightly I remember these people came up with their own god or concept of God that they formed like a religious organization around it, claiming to worship it, and it had a book and everything, if I remember correctly.
This is an official church. It's a branch of the church. And they came up with their own version of God. And they said God is spaghetti. And they even created an image, photo, and they have a whole Bible. And they worship this God. So this is the classic case where man created God, not that God created man. Man, and you can create any kind of God then that you want. Spaghetti God and Rasgulla God and Kheer Pulao God and whatever else. So that is what it risks. Speculation, self-manufacturing, and all this is no different from sense gratification. And by the way, this was created as a satire. So on religion by some atheists. They said, okay, you guys believe in God and I believe in this God, and your manufacturing of God is no different than mine. Can you prove to me your God looks the way you say and my God is any less? I claim my gods look this way. Come on, prove to me. It was more like a satirical attack on the theists. Anyway, so but if we want to do smarana, serious smarana, and don't want to risk our smarana becoming a smarana of spaghetti, then we have to do serious shastra adhyayan, we have to do serious shravan dasha, and then we can go into smaran dasha. Okay, we'll go on for some more time. Okay, today's special class. Special classes are longer. So wake up time, dāsyaṁ. We'll cover one more limb. If you all can stay for more time, we can cover sakhyam also, but I won't keep you that long, but I will keep you for some more time, dāsyaṁ. And some important concepts I will tell. Now, dāsyaṁ, everybody understands. Dāsyaṁ means servitorship, or doing seva of Bhagwan is dasya. We all have done seva in the temple, yes? So we can say we are performing dāsyaṁ limb of bhakti, and that is correct, 100% correct. But some more details are being presented by Sri Rupa Goswami and the Acharyas. So let us understand dāsyaṁ properly. Really properly, we will understand at the end of these 3-4 slides. How many slides I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 slides actually. So let us try to understand dāsyaṁ. And I promise you, you will have a really good understanding of what dasya is. So there are 5 verses on dasya, 83 to 87. And some aspects of this limb, some aspects are complicated to understand. So therefore, I have this wake up call. So please be alert for some more time and we'll go through it. So we will understand the fundamental concepts. So let me ask you, I have converted this into a dialogue. Can sadhan bhakti, please raise your hands and listen to the question carefully. Can sadhan bhakti, remember there is sadhan bhakti, then bhava, then prema. So can sadhan bhakti be in the category of uttama bhakti? Or is it only bhava and prema that can be in uttama bhakti? Who wants to answer? Brief answers. Yes, Jai Nitai Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sadhana Bhakti can be Uttama Bhakti because the definition of Uttama Bhakti, Anya Vilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Denavitam Anukulena Krishna Anusulanam. Everything applies in sadhana stage. So absolutely Sadhana Bhakti can be Uttama Bhakti.
All right. Anybody disagrees with him? Any dissension? Any disagreement? All right. So yes, Jai Nitai Prabhu is 100% correct. Sadhan Bhakti can be Uttama Bhakti. Because Sadhan Uttama Bhakti does not say it has to be Prema Bhakti or Bhava Bhakti only. The definition of Sadhana Bhakti, as he very rightly said, is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. When you are doing Sadhana Bhakti, practice of Bhakti, but if you are doing it with Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, no other material desires, no desires of any Karma Yoga, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. And your sadhan bhakti, the act of bhakti, the practice is Krishna Anushilanam. And it is anukulyena. It's favorable and it is seva to Krishna and continuously you are doing it. Is Uttama Bhakti. So all the aspects of the definition apply. Therefore, sadhana bhakti can definitely be Uttama Bhakti. Therefore, this limb of dāsyaṁ and all other limbs that we have discussed can also be done at a Uttama level, if it meets all these criteria. Now, if you are doing them for material benefit or something else, then it is not Uttama. Otherwise, sadhana bhakti can easily be Uttama, meets the definition. So recall that. So now let us understand what is dāsyaṁ. And again, remember, this is a limb of the mind. Dāsyaṁ could have been in the limb of the body. Remember all those things, offering dandavat pranam. How do you offer dandavat pranam? With your body. Anybody can name any other limb which is executed by the whole body? Parikrama. Remember, doing parikrama, you do it with your whole body, right? So there are so many limbs of bhakti that you do with your body. Visiting a holy place, you do with your whole body. So this dāsyaṁ could have been part of the whole body, that you serve the Lord with the whole body. Why is it in the mind? Because dāsyaṁ is the limb of bhakti in which the mood is the most important. The attitude of the devotee must be, I am a servant of Krishna. The devotee declares, not to the world, but to Bhagwan and to himself, I am your devotee. I have taken the job of being your servant. I have become, you are my employer. My salary is 0. But my job that I have signed up for is to serve you in every possible way. So what he does is that he looks for every opportunity to lovingly please and serve the Lord. First, he would wait for instructions, and then slowly he learns the Lord's mood. First, the Lord may have to tell, at this time you do this time you do this. Then he learns, then Lord doesn't need to tell. A good servant is who, brings the milk at the right time, brings all the bag or whatever, your clothes, everything is without even telling. He completely knows what is the Lord's intention, and he does that. So bhakti is actually is a limb of the mind, dasya. It's the mentality of being a servant. I am a servant of Krishna. That is the limb. But the physical expression is just a natural consequence of that bhava. Otherwise, if it was just the actions were there, it would have been in the whole body section. But it is in the mind section. So please try to understand this part. All right. First and foremost, it is a limb of the mind, and everything else flows from there. Then we will go a little bit into breaking it down, this dasya, into some activities. So now I have declared I am a servant of Krishna. Now, what are the types of activities that one can do? So if somebody is living, we are all trying to, at least ideally should be living in a varnashram system. And there are various kinds of activities in the varnashram system. This is how our acharyas have explained through the verses. So I am taking this particular line of thought. So there are three categories of activities. One is spiritual activities as part of varnashram system, like doing your japa, kirtan, dhyan, archana, worshipping of the Lord. These are spiritual activities. Of course, they are at a material level. You are worshipping with ghee and milk. But when you are worshipping the Supreme Lord, it is spiritual. Then there are auspicious material activities. What are some examples of auspicious material activities? Very straightforward example is dāna, charity. Or some other things like doing some samskaras, like, marriage ceremony, or doing some puja before taking up a new job, or, something for auspiciousness. If you purchase a new home, then you do some housewarming or something. It's for auspiciousness for your material undertaking. And then there are inauspicious material actions, which are also part of varnashram, like taking a bath, cleaning yourself, washing your hands after using the bathroom. All those are part of the system. So the spiritual activities, I'll go through this quickly. Since you all know it, these are the best and they please the Lord. Obviously, spiritual activities. So, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Pada Sevanam, all those. Sri Rupa Goswami in the very next verse mentions Japa, Dhyana, Archana, etc. All these are spiritual activities. So, doing these activities of bhakti with the sole purpose, again, the consciousness of a dasya. Dasya means to please the Lord, to serve the Lord by our seva, doing the japa as a seva. The Lord is so big, He is so great, He doesn't need our seva. He doesn't need milk. If I don't bring milk for Him, then He will be going without milk. Is that the case? No. He has plenty of milk. Lord Krishna is one thing He is not short of is milk. 10 million cows are ready to give milk directly to Him. What is our position to give Him milk? So He doesn't need absolutely anything from us. So the only seva we can do, technically, that we can actually do is japa and dhyana and kirtana and archana. These simple acts we can do. So doing them with a mood of seva, that's all I can do. You are so great, you don't need anything from me, but please accept this humble seva from me. With that mood, when one does these activities, that is known as Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. These activities themselves, these activities are direct bhakti. Even if somebody is looking at you, now of course he may not know what's in your mind, but just the activity itself, when it is very clear, it is you are trying to do bhakti. So no need to offer these activities to Krishna. And it will become clear why I'm saying this when we go to the next level, the material activities. So just doing those activities, when you are done with your japa, that's it. You don't declare, my dear Lord, please accept this japa as a seva to you. You don't have to declare that. Japa itself is seva. Then comes, now this is a hard one to understand. Many people do not understand what is Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Aropa Siddha Bhakti is doing those auspicious material activities, but later on, these are not direct limbs of bhakti. Is doing charity to a poor person bhakti? Just you are giving $10 to a beggar. Or you are, getting your child married. Is that bhakti? Everybody, even the atheist, gives $10 to a beggar. There are good-natured, whatever kind atheists also. They also get their sons and daughters married. What is they are doing bhakti? No, they don't do japa. That would be bhakti. But they are doing these activities, auspicious material activities. But when a devotee does them and says, I offer this was an offering to you. I gave this beggar $10 so that he can, and I gave him, let's say not $10, but you say that, hey, go and eat some nice prasad. Or I am doing this because he is a child of God. You do it as an act of bhakti. You offer this. May this please Bhagwan. Me helping another human being, may it please the Lord. With that mood, when one does, then it becomes bhakti. That is known as Aropa Siddha Bhakti. The act itself is not bhakti, but you added the consciousness to it.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, there is no voice coming.
Agreed.
Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes,
No,
Prabhu.
my laptop died, so I put it back on charge. So hopefully the recording and everything is there, and we'll see. So where were we? Hmm. Hmm. Says stop recording, so it must be going on. And if I went to participants, yeah, it shows here. See this cloud symbol, that red dot.
I see it looks like it's recording on my side. I can see it recording
Okay, great. Thank you.
from our side.
So it becomes, so we were talking about aropa siddha bhakti. So it becomes an act of bhakti because it is offered to Krishna, but after it is performed. Or even you can say what I am going to do, it's technically it's not the after or before aspect, but you have chosen what activity to do. And you choose to do that activity and then say, I am doing it to please, may this activity please Bhagwan. And Bhagwan is very kind and he accepts. He says, okay, you are doing it, I will be pleased. Sometimes my children say, Papa, I'm going to eat ice cream. Are you happy with that? Are you okay? Now, what am I supposed to say? Yeah. But if they say, you know, Papa, I'm going to bring you a cup of ice cream. Are you happy with it? I'm saying, yeah, I'll be happy. You get the difference. So it is a weak form of dāsyaṁ. Why? Because usually there is material desire in the mind even while making such offerings. I gave you just an example. My desire is to eat ice cream. I'm just saying, okay, Papa, are you happy with it? Now, some real examples with Bhagwan. And more deeper examples are where one thinks that, okay, I am giving $10 to this beggar. May the Lord be pleased. If it stops there, that's fine. Then it's fine. But somewhere or the other, there is a material desire. May the Lord remember that I gave $10. Tu ek dega to Bhagwan 10,000 dega, we say. When will I get my $1 million? Bhagwan, see, I gave this poor fellow $10. You said if I give 10 to him, you will give me 1,000. When are you giving me my 1,000? So there is that material desire, and therefore you try to do it as an act of bhakti. So it is an act of bhakti, but underneath is hidden a material desire. Just it on top is a sugar coating of bhakti. We will come to what it means in just a second. And then there are the inauspicious activities. So such auspicious activities like charity or donation or some samskaras, etc., can be, you can say that may the Lord be pleased with this. It is perfectly fine to say that. But some activities we should never offer it to the Lord. You just used the bathroom and then you're washing your hands and you say, may this washing of hands please Bhagwan. Of course, Bhagwan can be pleased by anything, but there are some inauspicious activities that you do not offer to Bhagwan. Our acharyas have said this. Anyway, So that is not Aropa Siddha Bhakti. That was just two last bullets are not part of Aropa Siddha Bhakti. They are just, you should not never offer it to Bhagwan. So those last two bullets are not part of this whole other part of this slide of auspicious material activities is Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Now there are two categories of Bhakti which apply to both Swarupa Siddha and Aropa Siddha, both. They are called Kaitava or Akaitava and Sakaitava. Kaitava is deception or pretense. Where have you heard this word Kaitava? Dharma proghita Kaitavo Kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. The second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. That this work, this Srimad Bhagavatam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Papatrayon Moolanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Parayiri Ishvara Sadyo Hridaya Dhyate Trakrtibhi Shubhi Tatshanat. So this Srimad Bhagavatam, this Mahamuni Krite, composed or written by Shri Vedavyas, is Dharma Projhita Kaitavo. It is free of, there is no pretense in it. There is no deception. It's the topmost Dharma. It's the essence of all Dharma. So Kaitava means deception. So Akaitava means without any pretense, and Sakaitava means with pretense. So when any bhakti is done without pretense, then that is best. With pretense means underneath the bhakti is hidden a material desire, some material profit. Bhagwan, I pleased you. Next, it's your turn to please me. So that is hidden. So both Swarupa Siddha and Aropa Siddha Bhakti can be in either of these categories. You can do japa and say, Bhagwan, I'm doing your japa now. Next, my promotion, my green card, my visa, my health. So while japa, you are doing this. So I'm building up this to bring out two specific points. One is the strong form of dāsyaṁ and one is the weak form of dāsyaṁ. Strong or uttama dāsyaṁ and weak is called mridu dāsyaṁ. Mridu means, technical word is soft. My sister-in-law is called mridul. So I wanted to make sure that it's not that she's weak. Each word has many meanings. So mridul means also soft, but another meaning is it's weak. Okay. So anyway, when I heard mridu and I said weak, then I got confused. How come, my mother-in-law named her other daughter mridul? Then I found another name is soft. I said, okay, that makes sense. Komal. So many girls are called Komal. Same thing, mridu. Anyway, so one meaning is weak. So uttama and mridu. So uttama dasya is the Akaitava Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. Dasya activity done not for any material profit. Swarupa Siddha Dasya activity, japa, dhyāna, kirtana, all those activities done with absolute. Now this may be obvious to you, but I wanted to go through that analysis to show what is not dasyam or what may be a weaker form of dasya. So the uttama dasyam is that dasyam where you do Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, direct activities of bhakti with absolutely no pretense of any material profit, purely to please Bhagwan. Literally treating Bhagwan as our Lord, as our master, and the only job of the servant is to please the master. Weak is doing sakaitava, having some material desires, and therefore you are doing things. So while doing japa, what material benefit japa can bring you? Actually, it is a loss, not a benefit. Why? You lose time. 2 hours of time you do japa, you could have done 2 hours of some work. And then given it, offered it to Bhagwan at least, but it would have produced material profit. So, Swarupa Siddha Bhakti from a material standpoint is actually negative. It sucks away your time at the minimum, if not all resources as well. If you do archana with nice flowers and nice decorations, it costs money. You have to dedicate a whole room in your house to do worship. That room you could have given it for Airbnb and earned money. So, Aropa Siddha Bhakti means activities that you do that are producing some material output, but you say that you will offer it to Bhagwan, but you have a material desire. That also is called dāsyaṁ, but it is a weak. We all understand it is not dāsyaṁ. But Rupa Goswami and our acharyas are so merciful, they say, okay, chalo, at least he's doing something. So out of compassion, they call it dāsyaṁ, but they say it is mridu. It is weak. Okay? That is the point. So one must, Rupa Goswami mentions both of these, but also clarifies. So we have 5 verses there. In the later verses, he's clarifying. But he says this is also dāsyaṁ. So one must try to graduate from weak to strong. Now, since I used these words, I know there are some engineers in the room, and they will ask, what about, Sakaitava Swarupa Siddha Bhakti or Akaitava Aropa Siddha Bhakti, all those things they might ask. So I, contemplating that question or anticipating that question, I put it here. And the answer is that there are not many people in those 2 categories. Most people are in this Akaitava Swarupa Siddha. When they are anyway investing the time, they will do it with the seva bhav. If they really want some material benefit, they would rather do Aropa Siddha, which activity also produces bhakti. And you can sugarcoat it as bhakti also by offering it to Bhagwan. What you call buy one, get one free. So you get double benefit. You try to please Bhagwan also, plus you get material benefit. So people are either there or people are trying to do pure. If somebody is trying to get material benefit by doing japa, very few people may be in that category, because then why would they waste their time if they are looking, if their consciousness is material benefit, they would rather do material activity. They will not waste their time. No, but then, yeah, so then that is the weak. That. Okay.
But they have all these ulterior
Yeah,
desires.
so
I want to be famous.
Yeah, so that is that small. I didn't say it is 0. So that, how many such people, kirtan singers, exist in the world? Very tiny. You can count them in the hundreds probably. And out of 8 billion people on this planet. Very tiny. And for many people, you never know. What you may have seen is they are doing kirtan. They may be doing other shows and other things also outside. So how much percentage of their time they are doing the kirtan also you have to see. Maybe this kirtan is Swarupa Siddha, agreed. They may be just using it as a practice session so that they can go and sing film songs. So we don't know. So, but they may fall in that small percentage. Similarly, Aropa Siddha Bhakti, Akaitava is very hard. You're engaging with the material world, doing Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Your mind gets contaminated. You may be Akaitava. There is every chance that it will very soon become Sakaitava. Or that devotee will think, why am I doing this stupid Aropa Siddha, all these other activities? If his heart is genuine, Akaitava, he will say, let me do japa, kirtana and all those things. Little bit he will do material activities to sustain his body, but mostly he will do this. So even a Swarupa Siddha Bhakta, Akaitava, Swarupa Siddha Bhakta will do some other activities to maintain his body also. But most of the time he will spend here. So that's why those are very minor categories and therefore they are not talked. Yes, Radhakanta Prabhu, you have a question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Typically what happens is when I go for shopping, to buy from fruits and things like that, right? I know what, my son likes mangoes, maybe like I'll buy mangoes and then offer it to the Lord, right? So if that kind of thoughts cross our mind, is that considered the Mrudula weak bhakti?
Yes, it is in that category, somewhere in that. Again, these are not four very black and white boxes. It's you, but you, as far as you get the concept, if you are purely doing it for the pleasure of the Lord, somehow you got an internal spurti or a inspiration today. Lord, my dear Lord, especially my deity is in my home. That particular deity today wants to eat mango. And then you will go hunt for mango, even if it is not available in one store, you will go to another store to get it. That is Swarupa Siddha Akaitava. But if you have this thing that my son will eat, and in parallel, Bhagwan will also eat, then that is Arop. There is a tinge of Arop Siddha Bhakti, or there is Aropa Siddha Bhakti in that as well. Even the atheists are buying mango. So you are buying it for dual purpose. So it is somewhere in the middle. Yes.
So is there a way to, I mean, if I keep resisting the thought, that keeps coming back to me, right? So is there a way
Don't
to
resist. Yeah, that's why. So yeah, don't resist that, but just know that that is what is going on. Just know that. And the way to cleanse your heart is through Nama Sankirtana. And study the Shastra and develop some attachment to Bhagwan. And then Bhagwan will show the way. And somewhere or the other, you will, realize that pleasing Bhagwan is way more sweeter than trying to please my son.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Maybe you will meet some other father who has an older son who doesn't care about his father. That father spent his life searching for mangoes for his son, and the son doesn't even feed the father. And then you will see, I'm spending all my life feeding my son. What for? I should have actually fed Bhagwan with that much love. My life would have been different. So maybe, you will meet somebody like that and your perspective will change. Okay. Okay, last slide, or second last slide. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are two very beautiful occurrences of dasya bhava. So first is showing the tattva, the theory, jivera swarupa hoye krishnera nitya das. So this is saying that the swarupa, the eternal nature of a jiva, is to be a das, a servant of Krishna. And then one realizes that is my constitutional eternal position. He finds ways. Like you said, you find ways to, make your child happy. What will make my child happy? Mangoes, this particular ice cream, sending him to this school, or, getting him these things will make him happy. Similarly, you direct all those desires for Bhagwan. Because one realizes that is I am his eternal servant. This child's servanthood that I have taken up will be over very soon. So, and then the next one is a more sweeter verse where one says that I am not any of these things. The entire varnashram is there. The 4 varnas are there, and the 4 ashrams are there. And he says, I am none of those. Who I am is dasa dasanudas. Das dasanudas of whom? Gopi bhratu pada kamalayor. Gopi bhratur means that the maintainer of the gopis. His pada kamalayor, his lotus feet, das dasanudas. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the maintainer of the gopis. So very, very, very beautiful verse this one is. It is in the meter, Mangalacharan, very beautiful meter. And me and my wife practiced it. So we will recite it. And then you can listen to it, and then you all can recite it in a lead follow format. So first we will sing. Naham vipro na cha narapatir, napi vaishyo na sudro, naham varni na cha grihapatir, no vasantho yatirva, kintu prodyan nikhila parama, nandapurnamritabdher, Gopi Bhratur Pada Kamalayor Dāsyaṁ. So we will read the translation. Oops. Can you read the translation, Prabhuji? Can you come closer here to the mic? And
I'm not a Brahmana. I'm not a Kshatriya. I'm not a Vaishya or a Sudra, nor am a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha, or a Sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He's like an ocean of nectar, and he's the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He's always existing with brilliance.
so first there is Naham, Naham, Naham. I am not this, not this, not this. So the entire Varnashram. So one is saying, I am not. My position is not a grihastha, like you, Prabhuji was asking about the duties of a father. That's grihastha. All these things are temporary. What is permanent is Krishnera Nitya Das or Gopi Bhratur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasa Dasanudas. That is what we should focus on. So let us try to sing this verse line by line. Lead follow. If you would like, you can unmute some of you and try to follow. Naham vipro na cha narapatir, napi vaishyo na shudro. Naham vipro na cha
narapatir, napi vaishyo na shudro.
Naham varni na cha grihapatir, no vanastho yatirva.
Naham varni na cha grihapatir, no vanastho yatirva.
Kintu prodyan nikhila parama, nanda purnamritabdher.
Kintu prodyan nikhila Paramananda Purnamritabdher.
Gopi Bhratur Padakamalayur Dasanudasaha.
Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasanudasaha.
So this verse is 17 syllables. The meter is Mangalacharan. The last verse of Nectar of Instruction is also this verse in the same meter. Krishnasyochai pranaya vasati preyasibhyo piradha kundam chasya munibhirabhitas tadrigeva vyadhai yat preshthai yat-preshthai-rapi alama-sulabham kim punar-bhakti bhajam tat-premedam sakridapi saraha snaturaviskaroti. Another famous verse in this meter is Shantakaram bhujagashayanam meghavarnam shubhangam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yoga. I forget. Anyways, that is Mangalacharan. So, That was the translation. So last slide, so why this whole thing was building up? Because of this one definition. So Śrī Rupa Goswami is going from 183 to 187, but the first verse, 183, is the definition of dāsyaṁ. Dāsyaṁ karma arpanam tasya. To you, I am doing karma arpanam. I am doing karma and then I am doing arpana to you. Karma arpanam. Kainkaryam api sarvatha. Kainkaryam means servitorship. 24/7. Sarvatha is 24/7. Always. So two things are there. Api means these two. And later on he clarifies that there are two classes of dasya. One is karmarpanam tasya. All my karma I offer to you. And the second one is kainkaryam. And then the next 4 verses, 84, 85, 86, and 87, he spends in explaining that kainkaryam is higher than karmarpanam, which is what I have been trying to explain you all this while. Are you following? So the real dasya bhava is kainkaryam. Same thing as akaitava swarupa siddha bhakti, or dasya, serving the Lord in that mood. No desires. Anya bhilashita shunyam. So that is dasya, and that is the end of today's class. Thank you. Questions? If any? Or comments?
Prabhuji,
Okay.
one question.
Yes.
Sorry. Please correct my understanding. If I understand right, you're saying that, look, a devotee going through the suffering is maybe, just to keep others away who are not really interested in bhakti.
That is one of the reasons.
Yeah, getting into bhakti because of material reasons. So to keep those people away.
Mm-hmm.
But when we take initiation, at least my understanding was that most of our, in fact, all of our prarabdha goes away.
Yes.
We start a fresh life, right?
Yes.
So after we get initiated and then we get into some problems, is that because of the nama aprad or some kind of aprad we have
Bhakti
done?
aprad. Yes. Or the Lord just chose you to keep others away, like Pandavas. They went through so much suffering. Do you think they did some seva aparadha? No, probably not. But definitely not from Lord Krishna's standpoint. So atheists will see TV serial of Mahabharata and say, oh, this whole thing is just so anti-climax. The whole point is to show Krishna is God, and look at his best or most faithful devotees. They are the ones who suffered the most. I mean, of course, the Kauravas, they all perished. But even on Pandava's side, it was not a very happy situation. Their 5 children were finally killed. All their relatives, friends, everybody was killed. It wasn't very happy. So what did they get out of doing bhakti? So they walk away. So Bhagwan chooses these devotees to, make a point to others. And the devotees happily endure. Happily. That is the point. He only chooses such devotees who will be able to take it in that mood, with that attitude. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does answer, Prabhuji. But let's assume that if the scenario is the first scenario, perhaps where the bhakta aprad has happened.
Yes.
How do we know what aprad happened, and so that we can repeat this kind of things?
So you have to, so 2 things. First is, yes, you need to, how to know. It's not anything different than what we normally face. Try to find out, try to look back and see in your life. Some people are in denial. Actually, that is the majority of the case. Oh, how can I have not done anything wrong. Deep inside, if you look, you may have. So don't be in denial. Try to step away from your ahankar and see what mistakes you may have done. I can look in my life and I know that I have done some bhakti aparadhs. I can't tell you here publicly or even privately. So, someday the reaction will come. And maybe there are 99% more which I am not even realizing because I'm just too righteous about myself. So you have to look. And that is why it is very important to have some sahriday, some very close friends who will tell you, Prabhu, what are you doing? Or, something like that. They will correct you. They will see and correct you. You need to have that relationship with them, that openness. You need to make yourself vulnerable to them. They should have the freedom to tell you, because many times it's not that we are too, many times it is ahankar, but sometimes it is blind spots. But for others, it is very easy to see your blind spots. So have such people in your life who, other people see your blind spots already. They just don't have the freedom to tell you. Go ask some of your devotee friends. They will have plenty of things to tell you that you kind of, where you are being a jerk. I bet you, for every devotee, it is there. Even for very senior devotees, there are so many people who will tell. Now, some of those for very nice and devotees, it may be, misunderstanding, but maybe there is 1% truth there. So to that extent, that devotee stands to learn if he comes to know what other people are saying about or thinking about me, or what I may have done, which I don't even know. So you have to find out. So couple of strategies are to have such people around you, to have that intelligence, to have that humility, to step down and say, no, I'm not perfect. And still you may not find out. Like Sri Rupa Goswami, if you remember, there was this pastime where he was in deep meditation, and in the meditation, Srimati Radharani pulled a trick on Krishna, and he smiled when she, successfully tricked Krishna. A Vaishnava was going outside who was, bodily deformed. So he saw Rupa Goswami smiling. He thought that Rupa Goswami is smiling on me, making fun of my deformed body. And then the story spread in the town that Rupa Goswami is having some pride in his heart. Rupa Goswami came to know, oh my God, this is happening. So he did not even commit any aparadh, actually. But the perception got created in that other person's mind. So then Rupa Goswami really wanted to, do something about it. So he told Jiva Goswami, who was his, nephew and assistant and, great disciple. He said, organize a feast for the whole village. The one person who doesn't come is the one who got offended. We will find out who got offended. So Jiva Goswami extended an invitation to everybody for a feast. This Brahmana didn't show up. Rupa Goswami, see how intelligent he was. He found out, then he went to that Brahmana and said, I fall at your feet. I must have done some mistake. Then he told, you smiled. Then the whole misunderstanding got cleared. His meditation also broke because he could sense that this other devotee got offended. So Rupa Goswami had to go through this elaborate exercise to find out who it was and then to go and apologize, even though it was none of its fault, literally zero. Are you following?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So we have to do that. It's not a slam dunk. You press a button and, you'll get a printout of, all your, what all aparadh you have done. And, it's not that easy. So best is to be careful upfront and then have all these things to help you to course correct.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, there's no straight, easy answer. Anything else? Okay, thank you so much. So we had a marathon class. We covered some pretty important points, that tat kripa iksanam, then smrti and dhyāna, and then dāsyaṁ. These are very, all these are like heavy, all are heavy ones. And then next one is sakhya and atmanivedanam, another two heavy ones. So we will, do some more marathon classes because I want to do it a little bit deeply, not brush it off, as well as not take a long time in terms of the elapsed duration. So I will cover things. Maybe we'll do some extra classes. So please look out for that. I hope this journey is enjoyable for you. Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ is an extremely important textbook. It is opening up a whole new dimension of bhakti that is not available through textbooks like Bhagavad Gita or others. It's a whole different new area. So it's very important to understand these topics. So I hope you are relishing and enjoying and benefiting from it. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Śrī Rupa Gosvami Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jai Prabhu.
Hare
Thanks.
Krishna Prabhuji,
Krishna,
Dandavat
thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful class, Prabhu.
Hare
Thanks.
Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji.